and people are constantly measuring us to what we used to be. Oh, remember that time when you used to look? Remember that time when you used to look? Because you won't look that way either. Like, oh, baby, if you want to come for me, I'll come for you. Don't talk about my pre-pregnancy body like that. Because it's beautiful. It's the same body. It might have 10, 20 extra pounds on it, but I'm still me. What are you talking about? Aloha Seastar tribe. I'm your host, Seastar Chit, and thanks for coming to cruise with us today. Our topic is going to be about postpartum snapback. Okay, snapping back today. We're going to snap back on the myths. But before we get into the do, I want to introduce my co-host, Miss Emily.
Hello, Seastar Chit tribe.
Hey! And before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to like and don't forget to subscribe. This is a hugely important topic for me, especially because I know that all of us have gone through the ringer mentally when it comes to snapping back. How do you feel about snapping back?
Oh, that's how I feel about it. That's how Bjorn feels about it. He doesn't want me to snap back because I need to keep my fat for breast milk.
You keep that fat, baby. Need breast milk. We can make a song. Hold on. Let me see it.
That's a good one.
You don't need to snap back because you need that fat back.
Satiety, how society negatively paints like this false narrative about how fast you're supposed to look like a model, and that's like that body type alone in itself is kind of hard to achieve unless you naturally have it anyways. But again, like social media stigmas and all these moms like be coming out with 6-packs 3 weeks after they had kids, and is that actually helpful for your lifestyle? Did you have a 6-pack before you started or before you had the baby? Like, why would you think that you would need one afterwards? You know, I personally wouldn't mind having a 6-pack, but that's just because I have an athletic body type. So it wouldn't be far-fetched for me. I know that I wouldn't be like 105 pounds though, which some women expect to be like, oh yeah, you know, I was 185 pounds before I got pregnant, and then I like my goal weight is 125. Like some certain things are just unrealistic, and we need to be able to separate what's healthy from what's unhealthy. And like even with celebrities, you know, because I know I just recently saw an article and they were like, oh, fans are gushing about Kylie Jenner's snapback body after having her baby. And I'm like, see, that is a type of pressure that we don't need and we don't care about. Like, how come I can't just breastfeed my baby over here and lose the weight as the way that I decide to lose the weight? Can you get back to your pre-pregnancy body by being healthy? You know, like not doing anything extreme, like going on these fad diets or cutting all these nutrient rich foods just because you want to be thin. Like, I don't think that is healthy. I don't think that that's healthy mentally for you, and I don't think it's healthy for your baby because you're not enjoying being a mom. You're not enjoying being a mommy because you're only looking at your body. Well, let's just start by saying this, that focusing too much on your snapback body is definitely not good for your mental health.
No, emotionally, mentally, it's not healthy. And I feel like it's unfortunate that we're in the kind of society where women's body image is so, talked about, revered, and And it seems like, I mean, celebrities feel the pressure. And yeah, it's just, I get it because of the industry they're in. And they might not even enjoy it. It's just for the role. I got to get back in shape to play Spider-Woman or whatever.
Exactly. But the interesting part about that is that your normal people who are not part of Hollywood have zero investment into the type of pressure that celebrities are under. Like they don't have to be under that type of scrutiny. But for some reason, women have allowed we have allowed ourselves as women to become subjugated to other people's opinions regarding the matter of our postpartum health. And I find it very strange because it's almost like you can't get away from the criticism about body image. Like before you have baby, people are talking about your body. If it's not oh, your stomach's not flat enough, your arms aren't thin enough, your thighs could be slimmer. Like, why do you care? Are you dating me? And even if you were, I wouldn't want somebody that is that focused on what they don't like about my body. And that is us digging a little bit deeper. So when we say the snapback body is not good for your mental health, that's where it starts because you're focusing a lot on what you don't have.
Yeah.
You know, like it's weird, but it's also not weird because I feel like our culture doesn't necessarily support women in helping us find our niche into how we do get to the stage that we were at prior to having a baby. And they don't necessarily give us enough grace, like enough time, space to do that. Like one, having a baby is already a very large responsibility. It's a blessing, but it's also a very large responsibility. Your schedule is going to change. The things that you ate in the past, you may not have the desire to eat now. And your metabolism is also going to be slightly different because your body realizes that you just had a baby and it's going to do what it needs to do to hold on to fat so that you can breastfeed and make sure that you also take in the nutrients that you need. So we're almost kind of working against ourselves when we start that that snapback process too quick.
Yeah.
Um,
And well, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, like, what are some areas in which you felt that pressure?
Yeah, totally. One, I feel like our priorities get mixed up, you know, and there is a huge lack of postpartum support.
Mm-hmm.
We hear everything about, you know, during pregnancy, before birth, but nothing really about postpartum and the mom's state of being and well-being, you know? So for me personally, yeah, there was a shift after I gave birth. You know, my body no longer looks like how I looked pre-pregnancy.
Yeah.
And my lifestyle has completely changed. I was just happy to take a nice long shower and you know, and I was able to sit on the toilet for a while and take my time and not hold my poop, you know, like, but yeah, but I did like question, like, who am I now? And like, is my husband still attracted to me? Am I attractive?
Mm-hmm.
And even during pregnancy, like I've heard friends, you know, like I've sent you pictures of me with my belly, and I've asked other friends like, oh, like, what about yours? Have you taken any pictures? And like, I had a friend and she was just ashamed of her body. She's like, I gained more than I wanted to. I haven't taken many photos. And I like felt so sad for her.
Yeah.
You know, and to me it's like, as long as, your body's doing what it needs to do to support your growing baby. And if that means storing more fat, then let it be.
Exactly.
Your body's doing what it's got to do.
It definitely is. And I understand, like, during pregnancy, you're going through so many stages. The first month is totally different from the 5th and 6th month. And unless you are active about looking in the mirror and telling yourself that you're beautiful and believing it, it's going to be hard to. Okay, you agree? It's going to be kind of difficult to maintain that type of confidence afterwards. Because if you get in the mirror while you're pregnant, you're like, oh, I'm beautiful, I'm fine, I'm divine. That was mine. I am beautiful, I am divine, I am fine, and I am divine. Inside and out, without a doubt. We are here, baby. We are here. So, really talkative today. But yeah, that having that confidence, it truly starts inside. And so I really think that instead of it us focusing so much on the outside, snap back, we need to, focus on the inside, snap back. And I know that we all struggle. I am definitely not perfect. I have my own individual faults in areas that I'm still working on. Like, okay, do you really want to eat that? Or are you eating this because you feel like you haven't eaten all day and now you're trying to get some quick calories and you're going to regret this later? But is that rooted in the right place? Am I asking myself that because I truly want to get into a place to where I'm sustaining the proper amount of calories, and that I'm working to be more fit overall with my health? Or am I doing that to like restrict? That is when it starts to get a little wonky, and then we start to fly into like those episodes of postpartum depression, because we're on social media scrolling through Instagram and we see a girl who we used to look like, and we're like, oh wow, she's getting all these likes and she's being validated. I used to look like that, but now I feel fat and I don't feel attractive anymore. And is that the end for me? Is it the end? Like, we start to catastrophize in our mind, like the worst possible outcome, not understanding that life is still happening. You just had a baby, so give yourself time. A couple of weeks isn't a couple of years. A couple of months is an eternity. And so when we give ourselves the space to really train ourselves in the right areas, then I think that our body naturally will take shape the way that it's supposed to. But it's interesting that you did mention your friend who didn't feel confident enough to take photos of herself, because I do notice that there is like this apprehension of women when they are pregnant to take photos of their pregnancy bodies. Like, the growing belly to me is the coolest part about being pregnant. I want it in all stages. I don't necessarily need to do the part where it's like 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. Like, we don't need to do all that. That's just me personally. If that's what you want to do, great. But I'm just saying, like, you can still be yourself while you're pregnant. You shouldn't change who you are based off just because you're pregnant. Like, I don't understand that. I don't really get it. Like, maybe that's something to unpack, because what about you feels different? Like, what about the baby in your body growing and having a baby inside of it is something for you to not feel good about? I understand the discomforts, like, okay, it's taking me 35 years to get up these stairs, or like, I don't want to park at the end of the parking lot because I'm going to be hot, pregnant, trying to walk up there. That makes sense. I don't want people to see me looking huffy puffy, but you should feel beautiful and confident in your, like, when you're pregnant. So I would encourage every woman to go in the mirror and look at herself and like love up on her belly and everything like that, because that is definitely a beautiful time and a precious time. And if your husband don't think you fine when you're pregnant, then something is wrong.
Yes,
Okay.
I agree. Yeah, Cody was just saying how that I looked beautiful with my big belly and you know my changing boobs. You know that I really had to. I learned myself to embrace my changing body, pregnancy and postpartum. You know, but it's to serve. It's to give birth to our babies. That's why it's changing, and so embrace it.
Yeah, it definitely is. What is something that you have noticed about, I want to say, our age group? Like, I hate using the term millennial because it has the negative connotation attached to it.
Yeah, it does.
The millennials, like, no, baby, calm down with that. But what have you noticed about the millennial women that we could work on when it comes to like having grace with our bodies, and especially after a baby?
I think slowing down. Like think about what your priorities are. Our babies aren't going to stay newborn for very long. It's going to go by so quick, and you're going to think back, where was I mentally? I was just anxious. Like, you know, you could say you were anxious about losing weight and eating right. Your mind is consumed with that. And so where's all that joy? The joy is taken away by some, you know, thought or belief that you have to feel or look a certain way. And I must say, yeah, postpartum depression, I mean, that's a whole another topic. And there's a lot of factors with why women get postpartum depression. And it also has to do with birthing in the system and having, you know, a traumatic experience, whether or not the woman realizes it on a conscious or unconscious level.
Yeah.
There has been some trauma done that can lead to postpartum depression.
Yes, I 100% agree. And the more that we talk about it, the more that we can raise an awareness to it. And, you know, like, I like how you said that we need to slow down. But we really do. I mean, when you think about it, the whole the whole pregnancy process, like, let's be real. I want to say from 2 months you being pregnant until 2 years old, you have to slow down. You just have to. You're not going to be moving at the same pace that you were pre-pregnancy, worrying about how other people perceive you. Because if you're honestly thinking about what is best for you and what is best for your baby, then you would know slow and steady wins the race. Like, I know my mom, she used to read the book to me about the turtle and the hare. That for some reason that like really stands out to me, and from my childhood. And I can still remember where I was at the first time she read that book to me, and she reminded me, she was like, look, Regina, in life, there's going to be times where you need to be slow and steady to win the race, because you might look over and see all of your peers outdoing you fast, and you're just like somewhat comparing yourself, like, what's taking me so long? Why am I not there yet? But really, you are winning the race because you're focused on your own pace and what you need to do. Don't worry about what everybody else has going on, because you'll never know those working parts. Another thing that we should mention about celebrities is that they have chefs, nutritionists, personal trainers, life coaches, handlers. They have people that handle them, that tell them, you won't get this job because you're competing with such and such, and she is 20 pounds lighter than you. So if you want this role, then you need to drop the weight.
Yeah.
None of us have that. Well, I can't say because I don't know who's watching you. You might be an actress, but the majority of us don't have that type of pressure sitting behind us. We don't have a handler. We don't have somebody dictating the way that we make money after we give birth to that extreme. I'm not saying that your job's not telling you, or like that you're not a personal trainer and that you just had a child and yes, I get that. But we're talking about the average woman who doesn't have those type of lingering effects hanging over her. Because when you think about it, that's a blessing. Honestly, I wouldn't want to be a celebrity trying to have a child. Like, that sounds like stressful, because you're constantly having to keep up with who's running right and left of you. And you don't even really get to have time to to enjoy your baby. Look at Rihanna. She just had her baby. They're already worried about her body. This is the first time she's coming out. She's like, who cares? Who cares? She was literally in the news her entire pregnancy. People are so worried about what somebody else has going on. Wait, can we see what she looks like when she comes outside? She's going to look the same. She's a person. She's a human being. You're a human being. I'm a human being. And we need to understand that it is not that, it's not that serious. It really makes me feel some sort of way when people are constantly measuring us to what we used to be. Oh, remember that time when you used to look? Remember that time when you used to look? Because you won't look that way either. Oh, baby, if you want to come for me, I'll come for you. Don't talk about my pre-pregnancy body like that. Because it's beautiful. It's the same body. It might have 10, 20 extra pounds on it, but I'm still me. What are you talking about? Okay, when my body is ready, yeah, exactly. When my body is ready to do its thing again, to do the 10, it will. And I don't need anybody behind me in my ear telling, girl, did you, girl, we have the right to be as slow as we need to be. We could be the turtle as much as we want to. If you need to take 5 years to be the turtle, take it 5 years. Do it healthy, obviously. Don't binge eat and all this other stuff. But take your time. Serious.
Yeah.
And you're a personal trainer, Emily. I seriously want to know, as a personal trainer, what type of how would you come at it as a personal trainer, not as a mom, if you were advising your client on the best way to go forward so that they could start back to working out and eating healthy, what are the first things that you would advise them to do?
I did have a client who came to me postpartum. Most of the general population moms, they actually give themselves time. It's not like 2 weeks later and they're like, hey, what can I, can we start working out? It's usually maybe a month or 6 weeks later, even 4 months, when, because they're so tired getting back into the groove and breastfeeding at night and all that stuff. But the first things I would do would be just take it slow. Start with getting walks outside, in nature, in the sun, and feed yourself nourishing foods like you did in pregnancy. Drink lots of water, and take it slow. Enjoy this time. But there's no reason to, it depends where the mom is at too. If she was, I don't know, a CrossFitter before pregnancy and during pregnancy, maybe we do ease in if she feels up to it. So it's all based on what the mom is feeling. But if it's a mom who's wasn't very active prior and during pregnancy, I'm not going to have her just jump into an intense workout. We have to meet where the mom is at.
Pregnancy body. If she wasn't necessarily practicing being on the healthy tip during her pregnancy, should she have those type of expectations on herself after she gives birth? Like, are we, if you weren't necessarily eating properly, the question is, are you now? Are you eating
Right.
properly now? Are you eating improperly and then you're looking at social media and then comparing yourself to other women? Because that's hard. That's a triple whammy. There's three things there that you're not recognizing. Like, okay, you're not eating the best. Two, you're not thinking the best. Three, you're not necessarily doing the best. You're going to feel sad. You're going to feel defeated when you haven't even started yet. And that's just going to place you into a sense of remorse or regret. Like, oh yeah, I don't know how I feel about having a baby, and I'm not sure how I feel. Like, I notice blah blah blah, 25,000 other things that you notice. But what is it that you notice that you're doing right? Like, I know that sometimes like my tone can sound a little bit like abrasive, but I honestly feel like it's because I care. I have three children, so I've gone through this process 3 times. And when I meet other moms, or I hear, like, I know other moms who are personal trainers, I really do. And one, I knew she kind of had a tough um, delivery. And so she wasn't able to work out at the 6 week mark. And so she's beating herself up. I just really want to be able to work out again. I don't feel blah, blah, blah. Like, so is there not something else that you can work on? Like maybe your mental health that's making you feel this way? Because just the simple fact that you can't work out shouldn't make you feel like you're going off the deep end. There's something attached to that that you're also not addressing. And so something that I like about pregnancy and postpartum is that now you have a lot more time to see what it is that you need to heal within you, right? um I personally know that when you have like pre-pregnancy clothes, the cute pre-pregnancy clothes, and then you have the pre-pregnant or the post-pregnancy body, and you're like, oh, I'm not even gonna try to get no shorts. But there might, like, you might have a feeling of guilt there, like, dang, like, how long is it gonna take for me to get back in those shorts? And you know, the shorts, you're looking at the shorts every time you open the door, like, okay, these are going by and I'm still not able to get into those shorts. Like, that's normal. That's normal. But if that thought process persists, when do you decide, okay, you know what? I think I'm gonna gift these shorts to somebody else instead of making it like something that's hanging over your head. Oh no, see, I told you you didn't look good. You can't even get back into those shorts that you have. Like, no, no, no. Just stop it at the root. If it's the shorts that are making you feel some sort of way, donate the shorts. Get shorts that do fit. And then when you lose more weight, you're like, oh, hey, girl, I lost weight. I can go get me some new shorts and donate these too. Like, we have to be willing to address things that are uncomfortable.
Yep.
And not just talk about things that sound tickling to the ears. You know, like a lot of it truly is working on ourselves.
Yeah, and I think having realistic expectations. And by the way, all these celebrities that have a complete flat stomach after giving birth, they got a tummy tuck. There's like a whole after birth surgery, like a whole mommy like new mommy surgery procedure that I've seen, you know, in LA at the doctor's office, and they're for sure getting tummy tucks because the skin can't bounce back that quick after holding, you know, a 7-pound baby for 9 months. And what I do want to talk about too is like, yeah, having realistic expectations, and maybe you won't have the same body pre-pregnancy, but it's totally understandable that for who knows however months and years we put our energy towards our baby, but self-care, you know, a lot of us, not even, I mean, we can talk about, yeah, mom specifically. I don't want to say like we let ourselves go, but there's still, we still have to take care of ourselves, right? Because only if we take care of ourselves, we can take care of our husbands, our family, our children better when we feel good.
Yeah.
So I had a client who, you know, she was feeling stressed because she had no me time. And I was like, just try to get that 1 hour of yoga, have childcare provided if you need it. Because, you know, that can build resentment if you don't get your you time, your me time, and, you know, things, you start doing stuff for the kids or for your husband, resentment can build. And that's not great. So setting time for yourself, you know, not everything can go out the window. Yeah.
And I'm glad you mentioned self-care because I am an advocate for self-care. I'm truly an advocate for self-care. I believe in postnatal massage. I also think that it's really important for you to get into some sort of body of water, whether that's a waterfall or a lake, a river, a stream, an ocean, a spring, hot springs, girl. Yes. I wish we had a hot spring here, but we have waterfalls, so I neither here nor there. But I definitely feel like there's like a, you know, like a butterfly. You have like a caterpillar. Like you have a metamorphosis process that you seriously have to go through each time you have a baby. And for me, it's like, oh my gosh, I have my body back. Like that's the first thing that I'm excited about. Not saying that breastfeeding, you know, I still have my body back. I'm not carrying the baby the same way that I was. So for me, the first part, like one of the first steps to self-care is realizing that you got your body back, girl. You got your body back. Okay. And the second part is actively journaling, keeping your diary, seeing all of your thoughts, like the thoughts that are impeding and the fleeting thoughts. Because usually the ones that keep pressing on you are the ones that you should take care of. But it's hard to keep track of that if you're not journaling or you have a diary. And my mom is also a personal trainer, and a trick that she taught me way back in the day was, if you want to see your progress, take pictures. Don't look at the scale, because the scale will have you depressed.
Yeah.
Like it is not accurate. It is not it's also not healthy to like step on the scale every day.
Yep.
And you know, it can lead a lot of people, men included, to be extremists, you know, and put unnecessary pressure on yourself to be someplace that your body is not ready for it to be. So if you take pictures, you'll be able to see the progress way better, and it isn't so harsh on your mental health. You can just start an album in your phone or on your computer. You don't even have to look at the pictures after you take it. You can just take the picture and upload it into an album. You know, so you have progress and you can see that progress, and it isn't so harsh. Like, I know if I was to step on a scale every day, I would start to feel some sort of way, because that's just not how bodies work. Like, I know my body
get too fixed on the numbers.
right? There's water weight. There's all like if I mean like water weight. There's literally water weight. So you definitely don't weigh the same thing that you do in first thing in the morning versus 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Accurate. It depends on what you had, what you ate, if you drank alcohol, and if you're stressed, if you had enough sleep. There's so many factors. That's why I never have clients weigh themselves. I mean, if anything, I have them do a DEXA scan, which actually separates body fat, weighs body fat, and your muscle, lean muscle mass. So everything is defined.
Yeah.
It's not just one big number. Mm-hmm.
And another healthier option as well is to take measurements. Take measurements weekly. You don't have to do it every day. Again, that would be kind of stressful because you're not giving yourself any room, like any grace. You're thinking like, oh my gosh, my waist is 31 inches. It was 31.5. No, just it's sometimes that's too much. Like the stress from you hit, like seeing 31.5 might push you to go bingy. Like, oh no, now you set yourself back even more. And if you didn't look at that, then you would have been fine, right? So it's just like there's little tweaks that we can make to get our postpartum body back the way that it should be without being so aggro about it.
Yeah.
Because even dads, they experience weight gain during your pregnancy.
Yeah.
Like, I was eating the same way you were.
Exactly. Amen. Yep. Cody was.
Yeah, they're going through the same thing we are. And so, but men, their metabolism is way different. So if you notice that your husband picked up a lovely 15 during your pregnancy and he lost it immediately, like, wait, how come when I had a baby you lost the weight? Like, my body isn't set up that way. Yeah. Well, his body, one, didn't carry the baby. Two, it doesn't have to continue to supply the baby with nutrients after. Yep. So that's why. But men definitely eat the way that their wives do. I don't really know that many couples that have completely different nutritional, like one, okay, there might be a different, like for me, I'm a pescatarian. My husband is a vegan. So there's a difference there. Like, but I usually make dishes with and without fish. Either we gonna have fish or we're not gonna have fish, but it's an option. But he's still eating the same thing as me, right? So if you're consuming a whole bunch of processed foods, your husband's gonna consume a lot of processed foods, most likely. But his metabolism is a lot stronger and faster. So
his body's not trying to store fat.
Exactly. So he's just gonna lose it right away, but you're gonna still be eating the same way. But now your body's storing fat for you to breastfeed. So it's going to feel a lot different. You're going to continue to add unnecessary weight because you haven't shifted your diet to support what it is that you need to lose the weight. So it's not that you can't lose the weight. It's just that you might need to shift your diet so that, it's making up for what it is that you need to see some sort of change. Mm-hmm. But nothing is impossible. Like, just because you're eating processed foods doesn't mean that you can't turn that around. Or if you're a binge eater or somebody who, what is it called when you take in too many calories?
Oh, what do you mean?
Like when you I don't know if is that considered overeating? Because they say like to lose weight you need to be in a caloric deficit.
That actually is false. When I train with my consulting, there is like it's not calories in, calories out. Like that was like the old bodybuilding mentality. It's not that way anymore, especially now that we have much more processed foods, access to it. So yeah, it's not as easy as simple as calories in, calories out, because the quality, like two things could be the same amount of calories, like a protein bar versus, I don't know, grass-fed ground beef with spinach on the side. It could be equal calories, but which one is more nutritious? The way your body processes it is going to be different, even though they're equal, right?
Yeah, for sure. You know what? And see, that's also something that needs to be broken down a little bit, I think, as well. It's just how many of those old old belief systems that we still incorporate into our daily lives that don't necessarily serve us anymore. I mean, for me, I find that Pilates, and just like practice like slow intentional movement targeting your small muscle group instead of like the large muscle group, because that's really what exhausts you and makes you not want to come back for the next workout. Because I know that's how I feel. I couldn't be into CrossFit because I'm like, I really I don't know. My body's tight the way that I'm set up. The medicine balls and to me that feels like too much. I applaud the women that can do it, but for me personally, it just wouldn't be something I would be able to maintain. Like I wouldn't be able to be consistent at that. I think I might be able to do CrossFit like once a month. Not once a week, once a month. And that's it. Because I do feel like those high impacts or HIIT activity, like HIIT workouts are good, especially for if you're trying to lose weight. But at the same time, I don't want to feel sore all day. I'm already having to lift a baby. So that's something you have to take into consideration. It's just like, okay, what are you willing to trade for your comfort?
Yeah.
I don't want to feel all day. So I'm not going to do an activity that is going to make me feel like that, because now it's affecting like my productivity at home. I can't be productive at home if I'm sore.
I love that you mentioned that, Regina, because when I have, suggest clients and I give them a program and they're like, how often should I do this? I have them start slow. I'm not like, I want you to bang this out 5 times a week. I'm like, start with once a week, see how you feel, and I want everyone to kind of think of it as like sustainability, right? You want this to kind of be your lifestyle, not like the lose weight fast in 30 days, because you're just going to gain it back and you're not going to feel good. You're going to burn yourself out. So the way you're saying it, who wants to feel sore all day where they can barely go up the stairs? No, start slow. You got to test it out. If you haven't worked out in a long time or this is a new activity, test it out. Don't go ham, because, we got to protect our bodies too. Getting injured is not fun, and is going ham doing something worth it, to be injured? Yeah, so it's not. So being safe and experimenting, but starting slow for sure. And then you can always increase it.
Yeah, definitely. And
That's is the burnout.
Yeah, the burnout is real. Giving grace in those places is very, very important. I think that sometimes we can be triggered when we see things on social media, and so I would also love to impress upon women, if you feel like you're getting triggered from looking through social media, that might be an indicator that you need a break from social media. Social media ain't going nowhere. The like button isn't going anywhere. Like none of those things are going anywhere. If you're worried about losing followers because you've been MIA for a time, who cares? If those people truly care about you and your well-being, then they're not going anywhere. And your followers should not exceed, or like that thought in your mind shouldn't trump your mental health. I'm
Yeah.
not on social media because I'm worried about this, that, and the third. No, you need to put yourself first. And that's the first step in self care, is that you're able to identify, okay, this is triggering me. And the second step would be, well, how can I resolve this? Either I can take a break from social media, or I can unfollow the accounts that are making me feel triggered.
Yeah.
But to
Yeah.
me, it's like a band-aid. Unfollowing people is unfollowing people that are triggering you is a band-aid. And it's a band-aid in a way that you won't get triggered if you understand that you are, beautifully and wonderfully made, and that you are the only one. You, and that there will never be anybody as unique as you are. And so there's no need to compare yourself and to be triggered by these
Yeah.
people. But if you're not there yet, take a break. Take a break from social media and give yourself some quality time with your family and with your baby. And that definitely will take a lot of pressure off of you. I, believe it or not, don't have Instagram. I used to have Instagram, but then I realized that the environment was it was staying a little bit too. I didn't like what I was seeing on Instagram. I felt like a lot of people use social media as a tool to be something that they're not. And I like being authentic, and I like maintaining my relationships outside of social media. And there's nobody on my social media who doesn't have my contact information who can't contact me. And so I was just like, yeah, I'm going to opt out of Instagram, and I feel fine. There are people who ask me, why did you get off social, or why did you get off Instagram? And how come this, that, and the third? And are you ever going to get back on? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But it's not something that is important to me right now. Like, I don't need social media to operate. And I don't think that it is something that any of us need to operate and function. And especially if you're going through anything with your mental health, like being on any platform for too long can stress you out
Yeah,
and
for sure.
cause unnecessary uh, grief in your life.
Yeah.
You know,
I love that you mentioned that. It's kind of like asking yourself, what vitalizes me? What gives me energy versus what drains me?
Mhm.
What do you do in your day that drains you? And if that's, I don't think anyone feels vitalized and energized after scrolling, and if that doesn't serve you or vitalize you, you got to eliminate it,
Mhm.
So I think figuring that out and taking that out of your life, I think that's a great step, just like what
Yeah,
you did.
yeah. And I just felt like I'm like, you know what? My time is valuable. And yes, you can set social media limits and, all these things like that on your phone. But I'm just like, okay, if I have to do all of that, if I have to do all of that, then I don't need it. Like I just don't. Like if I feel like I have to set a time limit for how long I'm on something, then I honestly don't need it. I'm losing precious, valuable time that I'll never get back scrolling through things and looking at people that I don't know, maybe that I do know, but it's a fleeting moment.
Yep.
None of that is like really holding any relevance in my life. So why am I on there? I could be painting, I could be writing music, I could be coming up with different ideas to do different things, but I'm spending it on social media. Like I just wanted to take my time back. I'm like, I honestly I love having fun. I love dancing, I love singing, I love having so much fun with my kids. Like I won't be able to do those things if I'm constantly checking in on what other people are doing.
Not at all.
It's
Takes
exhausting.
away from us being present.
It really does. It really does. And now, like, I've noticed that some of my friends can't necessarily say, "Oh, did you see this on social media?" Like, "Oh, I posted it on." Wow, man, you're gonna have to send that to me directly because I
Yeah.
don't have it. Like, if you really want me to be involved in that memory, then either you share it with me or, hey, it's fleeting. It's not as important to share with me as it like you may have thought it was.
Mhm.
So I've also noticed like um, me accepting that other people have their life to live. I have my life to live, and um, there's nothing wrong with expressing that. Hey, I got my life to live. I am doing what I can and the things that I want to do so that I can fully embrace becoming the best version of me. And you don't need to apologize about that. Like, if that's where you're at in your life, then that's where you are. But there is nothing written in stone that says that you need to perform or that you need to be on social media, right? So YouTube is a treat. I'm doing this because I love connecting um, with you and sharing valuable information that can help other women, you know. And I don't necessarily consider YouTube to be like a social media like TikTok.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, it feels the environment is a little bit more different. And I don't spend the same amount of time as I guess I would scrolling as I making a video or something like that. Or I was like a lot more motivated to talk about some uncomfortable topics today because not topics because it's just one topic, but I was more motivated to be more vulnerable in this podcast specifically because I feel like it's something that has been plaguing motherhood community.
Mm-hmm.
It is it's exhausting. I feel really bad for moms, especially moms that I see, like we'll meet at the park. Oh, you look great. You just had a baby. Thank you. You look great too. I do. Baby girl, no, don't say it like that. It hurts my heart, you guys. It hurts my heart. Like sometimes I just like I wish I had like some sort of Holy Ghost fire. Like, woman, you look beautiful. You look great. What are you talking about? Your body, you just had a whole baby. What do you mean? Like, I'd probably freak them out, so I don't do it. But it's like I just want to like burn off all of that doubt and that like those that negative self-talk. What do you mean? You look gorgeous. You're walking, you're breathing, you're alive, you're able to take care of your child, and like you live in Hawaii. What do you mean you don't feel like you look beautiful? You're not 19 and you're not frolicking on the beach and you don't have any stretch marks. Big deal. Like who cares? I've had stretch marks since I was like 12 years old because I grew so fast. Like, gosh, I don't know what it means to not have stretch marks. So, like, okay, but if you're confident in who you are, you shouldn't care about those stretch marks. And so what? Are you worried about Dick James and Lanes who are going to say something about your stretch marks? A man who loves you and values you and who appreciates who you are could care less. He will kiss your stretch marks, baby girl. It has nothing to do with all of that. Like, y'all don't feed into that myth that stretch marks aren't beautiful, because to me it's like, hey, this is my badge. I done had a baby. Do you have those?
Exactly. Love that.
Yeah, so anyways, I hope that you guys, gals and lurkers, have enjoyed this video. I love having these candid conversations and just really connecting and talking about real life topics that can help women and men around the world. We should have and feel more empowered and encouraged to be our unperfect selves because we ain't perfect. We ain't never gonna be perfect in this lifetime. So we might as well just be confident with who it is that we are right now in this moment. So hit the like button for us and please subscribe. Okay? And we'll see you in the next video. Okay. Bye.